Hey everyone, welcome back to the most interactive wrestling show on the interweb. Welcome back to Wrestling with Omer. I am your host, as always, Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Sunday. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening today, be sure to do me a big time favor and leave a 5-star review. We got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. Busy couple of weeks coming up with professional wrestling. We, of course, have All In this coming Saturday or Sunday. Sunday, that's when it is. You also have the week right after that, All Out, which I'm going to be live there in Chicago, Illinois. If you see me, if you want to meet up, please be sure to leave a comment in one of the videos, or easiest way to do that is hit me up on Twitter or X. I still have to change all the Twitter X graphics on the graphics of the show, but be sure to hit me up if you want to just say hi. We'll do that. A lot to get to today. I see Job is already in the chat. Welcome, Job. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday as well. I know that there have been a lot of questions about, like, oh man, where have the streams been? Where have I been? Why haven't I been posting as much? Reason for that is, as I think discussed in a previous video, I've been sick. Had the old COVID-19 for a little bit there, and I was not doing well. Be totally honest with you guys, was not doing well, but I'm much better now. Still not 100%, but I'm getting there. I am well enough to do this. So let's get right into it. Cheers with a Spindrift. Which, by the way, people forget when CM Punk cut that promo, that pipe bomb, the gripe bomb, I should say, back last year at All Out. He wasn't just eating muffins. He was also drinking a lime Spindrift. So the muffins get a lot of the memery, and I don't think we meme the Spindrift quite enough. But a lot to talk about here. Like I said, busy day. ESPN potentially interested in acquiring the rights to WWE TV. You also have a lot of drama, shades of last year, shades of 2022, with CM Punk, with a lot of stuff happening backstage in AEW, not just CM Punk even. But we'll get to a lot of it. If you guys have a question you want to ask, if you have something you want me to talk about, you guys can put it in the chat. The best way to guarantee your question or statement gets answered is by leaving a super chat. Super chats are a great way to engage with the channel and help us grow and fund some of the awesome things that I have planned over the next few months. By the way, I'm not gonna bring it up on the air. I'll leave my griping on that to emails to in between me and specific companies' press division. I'm a little salty about that, but anyway, guys, a lot to talk about here. Let's talk about the AEW drama first. We covered this a little bit on OT Graps with me and Trevor this past Tuesday, but it looks like the CM Punk Elite drama isn't going away. From the outside looking in, given everything we know about the situation, given the fact that we know that the Elite are not interested in working a program with CM Punk, it just doesn't look like these guys are going to work together. It doesn't look like the Elite and CM Punk want to work together. It doesn't seem likely that we're going to get that dream match. And if you ask me, that's the biggest match that AEW could possibly do. I've said it before. I will say it again. If they were able to turn the gripe bomb into a work, it would be the biggest thing in the company's history. Unfortunately, they're unable to do that. There's still lingering, questions about where exactly the relationship is, if there is one. Of course, CM Punk complicated things further by doing that promo on Hangman Adam Page after Collision went off the air last week. So a lot of things still up in the air, a lot of things to be determined, but it's not great. I mean, I was going to save this for a video I was going to make later, but it just seems like, right as AEW was kind of gearing up and looked to be drama free, gearing up for the biggest wrestling show of all time as far as tickets sold, it just seems like somehow, some way, this Elite Punk situation found its way back into the conversation and is almost overshadowing the historic moment that is All In. Like, All In is going to be an epic moment. It is going to be one of the biggest moments in wrestling history, period. And it's because you will have the biggest ticketed crowd in wrestling history. And I don't want to hear WWE people talk about 101,000 in Jerry World, brother. No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. There were 80,000 tickets sold. There were 80,000 people who came through the turnstiles. That happened. We all know it to be true. The Texas police records state that. Every validated source of information states that. The only people who claim the 101,000 number is WWE, and they lie about that number all the time. They lie about their attendance all the time. That doesn't mean that selling 70,000 tickets or selling 50,000 tickets or selling 60,000 tickets isn't a big deal. It is. The problem you run into when you're WWE and where you open yourself up for criticism is when you lie. It is when you lie about the amount of tickets that you sold, when you over embellish to the point where people don't take anything you say as far as attendance figures go seriously. There were not 93,000 people in the Pontiac Silverdome at WrestleMania 3. There were 79,000. It's okay. That's still a boatload of people. So, again, I think people get upset over these things a little too much. Like, for me, I genuinely don't care as much. Like, obviously, you don't want a stadium that has, like, 10,000 people in or 7,000. That's, like, it's not a good look. Just don't run the stadium at that point. But, like, when you're in a stadium and you sell 50,000 tickets, that's an awesome number. That's the number that I thought All In was going to have. I thought if All In sold 50,000 tickets, it was going to be a success. That's what I thought. Yet here we are a few months later, just less than a week away from the actual event, and they sold nearly 80,000, 81,000, something like that, and they're probably going to sell more. I think by the time this is all said and done, they're going to have somewhere around like that 84,000 number with walk-ups and all that stuff, which is monstrous number, especially when you consider that it's AEW who's doing it, not WWE. Like, it is crazy to think. And people want to crap on it all they want. People can say what they want to say. There are a lot of criticisms you can do about All In and say about All In, which I will get into in a little bit. However, it is irrefutable that this is an epic moment in wrestling history, that I don't care if you're a fan of WWE, if you're a fan of AEW, I don't care what side you're on, you can all agree that this is big. And you can criticize, there's room for it, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge the fact that this is big. We got Jermaine in the chat asking about All In. What are your expectations for All In to be a success? I mean, it's already a success. Like, if we I'm gonna do a preview show later in the week, hopefully with another content creator that I'm trying to finalize right now. But if we look at the All In card right now, like, you have Jericho versus Ospreay, that's likely going to happen. You have the Omega tag team match. You have MJF versus Adam Cole, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, Best Friends, and the Lucha Bros versus the Blackpool Combat Club and 3 other people to be determined in Stadium Stampede. The Golden Elite, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi versus Konosuke Takeshita and the Bang Bang Gang. Darby Allin and Sting versus the Mogul Embassy. Shida, Toni Storm, Saraya, and Britt Baker, DMD for Shida's AEW Women's World Championship. Still being advertised as FTR versus the Young Bucks, even though Cash Wheeler is dealing with that legal situation. And then you have Aussie Open versus MJF and Adam Cole for the ROH tag titles. Like, big time. This is a big time card. Now, for me, I would say this. The build for most of these matches has not been great. Like we can all acknowledge that. But despite that fact, it's still a stacked card because you have so many awesome wrestlers on it, and you have people who are going to go out there and just have kick-ass matches. Like everyone here, the energy and the chemistry is going to be amazing in the ring. Even something like Will Ospreay and Chris Jericho, which some people think is like pretty random, like there's a reason for that happening. There's a reason for that happening, and it's like also like Will Ospreay was one of the guys that Jericho wanted to face back in the day, like when he was still doing New Japan dates. He just never got around to it because then AEW became a thing, and now like they're finally getting around to it, and you can like it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be awesome. The big criticism that I have is that the builds for most of these matches has been crap. And then on the biggest wrestling show with the biggest attendance, you I understand it's the Golden Elite, it's Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, but man, it just feels like they just threw him in the tag match and we're like, here's what we got: Kenny Omega in a tag match. That's our out. And I was just like, okay, you don't want to do Will Ospreay versus Omega 3 until like Wrestle Kingdom or maybe Forbidden Door next year. All right, cool. You couldn't give me Omega versus Jericho again. You couldn't give me Omega versus Samoa excuse me. You couldn't give me Omega versus anyone like one-on-one. I couldn't have a one-on-one Kenny Omega match. I understand the Bryan Danielson injury was probably a big reason why we're having Kenny Omega in the tag team match. I fully get that. But man, we could have you could have had him. Could have had him there. The other thing that concerns me about All In is the fact that the pay-per-view is still like $50. And not only do you have All In for $50 this coming week, the week right after you have All Out for $50. And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, it's only $50, blah blah blah." That's a lot of money to some people. That's a lot of money for a lot of people, even me. Like, and I'm by no means well off. By no means am I well off at all. Like, it is like to say that $50 is nothing, or $100 is spent on 2 weeks for wrestling shows, for pay-per-views, is nothing. It really spits in the face of a lot of people and people's situation, and the reality of that is our current economy, not even just in America but globally. Like it's a lot to expect if you're AEW. And do I think they're going to sell over 100,000 pay-per-views? Sure. I think they'll probably sell for All In over 150 to maybe 175,000. I think like even like Revolution, or what was the last one? It was Double or Nothing, did like 120. So they can hit, I think, 150 for All In, just because, or even I think they can hit 150 to 200,000. I think that's the real gauge I'm getting here. The real range, I should say, is 150,000 to 200,000 pay-per-view buys for All In. I think they're going to be significantly lower for All Out than they have been. Like if we go like All Out 2021, if you look at it, had over 200,000 pay-per-view buys, which is like a crazy number, like 205,000 pay-per-view buys. All In 2022 wasn't as successful, but it still was a successful pay-per-view, had over 140,000 pay-per-view buys. I think there's going to be a step down. I think maybe 130 to maybe 120 is probably what they're going to do for All Out, and then maybe like between 175 and 200,000, just because of the curiosity factor for All In. Job in the chat says, that's enough of CM Punk. He can keep his mouth shut. I think it's time to cut the bait and with the prima donna. I mean, it's easier said than done, because the reality is Collision is CM Punk's show. And right now, it is inarguable. It is AEW's best show, in my opinion. Like, Collision feels different. Collision is different. Collision feels like a completely different company with all the best parts of AEW. It feels slower. Things have a little bit more time to build. It's more focused. That's why I like about Collision. It really reminds me of early AEW, which AEW got into, and Dynamite got into this habit of being not car crash TV. I'm not going to go that far, but there's a lot happening on Dynamite. And sometimes it happens really fast. Things don't have time to build, things don't have time to breathe. On Collision, everything has time to breathe. And it's my type of wrestling. It's what I prefer. It's that great wrestling, great fast paced action with, okay, the stories are being told, and they're being told at a rate where everyone can enjoy them. So I love that part of it. And Punk is a big part of the success of that show. He's a big part of the reason why that show exists. Like, I don't think that there's Collision if there weren't going to bring CM Punk back. I think you were going to have another AEW show regardless, but I don't think like Collision as we know it today would be possible without CM Punk. It's just the truth. It sucks the fact that he's kicking people out. Like, that's not great in my opinion. And from what I hear, like it's bonkers to me. It is like Ryan Nemeth is one thing, because while I don't agree with kicking other wrestlers out of the locker room because you have beef with them, kicking the head of talent relations out in Christopher Daniels, that is bad. Like, and for AEW to allow that to happen, in my opinion, is just absolutely bonkers. I don't get why he'd want to kick out the head of talent relations, even though your top star wants out. Like, in this day and age, right? Moxley cut that promo back after All Out 2022, after the Great Bomb, and he said that AEW means taking the old dirty side of this business and letting it die with the previous generation. And those are great words. I love it. I just wish that it was practiced more than it was preached, because I don't know the details. However, the report from multiple sources says that Punk did not want Christopher Daniels at TV at Collision, because it would be unfair that Ace Steel is allowed to be there and Christopher Daniels, or that Ace Steel isn't allowed to be there and Christopher Daniels is, which is just bonkers to me. We got Job in the chat saying, the Wednesday show is a great show without him. It is a great show. Don't get me wrong. It's a great show. I just think Collision is a little more focused than Dynamite is. But they're both great. Vince McMahon's whole career has been a lie. I mean, a lot of it, there have been a lot of lies told by wrestling companies. That is for damn sure. Jermaine in the chat says, Tony needs to put his foot down and make the Elite do business. He's the booker, not them. I mean, yeah, but he also needs to put his foot down and get a hold of this locker room, because the sense backstage, like I think Fightful put out this really good report. Shout out to Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful Select. They put out a really good report that kind of chronicled, the discontent and the feelings of wrestlers in the locker room. And, it wasn't like, then obviously named specific wrestlers, but it was just like general sentiment by some wrestlers. And you could tell, like, people were kind of like, this is weird, it's not great. Like, people are unhappy. And obviously, like, it's not just the Punk situation. There's a lot of other stuff happening, but man, it's crazy. It's crazy to see. Let's see. We got a lot of stuff in the chat. We got Curvin saying, why AEW all-in card feel weak? Yo, it does, though, a little. Like, here's the thing. I just read out the card. It's still a good card. It's just like, you expected a little bit more. And maybe that's on us as wrestling fans a little bit. It is on us a little bit, I will say, for us, because we expected better. But at the same time, it's like, man, you couldn't put Kenny Omega in a singles match. You couldn't just run back Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega and said, like, pride. Like, pride. Heart, soul, pride. Let's go, baby. Oh, actually, that would be a great, like, tagline for the AEW. That would be a great tagline for the CM Punk Elite feud if they ever end up doing it. Heart, soul, spirit, pride. And then CM Punk just comes in, I'm pride. I'm pride. I'm pride. Hervin says, where's the storyline? Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of these matches just don't have storyline. I mean, some of them you don't need, right? Like, you don't really need a story for FTR versus the Young Bucks 3. That match just kind of sells itself. There hasn't really been a story with the women's division with the women's match, I should say, outside of Tony Storm. They haven't even told I don't think they've told the Saraya story as well as they should, if at all. Like this is like her big like title match that she's coming back to at Wembley of all places, in her home country, and it feels like they haven't touched on that at all. It's insane. So yeah, they're Darby Allin and Sting versus Mogul Embassy. They've told a story there, sure, and that's an undercard match. There really wasn't a story with this Stadium Stampede match. It was just kind of Eddie Kingston coming in. I hate you, Claudio Castagnoli. I hate you with all my guts. We're going to Stadium Stampede. You pick any of your three guys. I hate you too, Mox. But it's just like, look, anytime Eddie Kingston grabs a mic, I'm going to watch. But I really do hope. I really do hope, though, during Stadium Stampede, someone give Eddie Kingston a can of gasoline and just let him go. We didn't get to see it last year at Double or Nothing. I want to see it this year. This man needs to light someone on fire in the wrestling ring safely. Excuse me. Yeah, and CM Punk versus Samoa Joe, they told a story. It's kind of hurt. It kind of hurt a little bit by the fact that they just had this match like 3 weeks ago or whatever in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Like, yeah, and then like Golden Elite versus Takeska and Bullet Club Gold, like tag team match, brother. Holla holla. I don't even know. like I don't even know. What do we got here? We got yeah, Charles. Welcome, you Charles. Hopefully you're doing good. You Charles saying the Bullet Club Gold, the Bang Bang Gang versus the Elite Angle was teased on Collision before the attack on Omega. Yeah. Here's the thing. I would love for Bullet Club Gold to pick up Adam Cole, baby. I would love that. And then you have the tag team match, the trios match, Omega and the Young Bucks versus the Bang Bang Gang. Or you have Adam Page and the Young Bucks versus the Bang Bang Gang. There's a lot you could do there. Dalton Castle needs a major push. Yo, look. If you guys haven't seen Dalton Castle's entrances, like even if you don't watch him wrestle, like he's a good wrestler, but like even if you don't want to watch his wrestling, just watch the videos of his entrances. This man cuts promos on the way to the ring into the camera, and it's one of the most entertaining things on ROH. Big shout out to Dalton Castle. Job says, and Linda must only be sticking around for the... I mean, Linda has a lot of money. Like, Linda McMahon has a lot of money. She was on top of being the small business administration or the small business administrator under the Trump regime, she was also like the head of his super PAC. So like she's got money and like she's got like I'm sure she has stakes in WWE. Like I think that I'm not going to speak on someone's marriage too much, but I will say like I don't think it's a money thing. I think it's more of an optics thing than anything else, mostly due to her politics. You got your Charles saying we tend to forget Jay White teased the Bullet Club Gold versus the Elite on Collision, and it ain't that random. No, they'll get back to it. Your Charles says, do y'all miss Jim Ross too on Collision? Yeah, I do. Look. It might be nostalgia for me. Like this might be just complete nostalgia on my end, but I really miss Jim Ross on commentary. I thought I think they were doing a really good job over the past number of weeks having him come in and do the main event of Collision. I think that is the perfect role for him. And like he's there long enough that he can put everything into it and not, and not get too tired or whatever, like he's older, like it happens. And I think people are being very unfair to him, like over some of his flubs recently. I don't, or in the past year, I just don't, I don't like to do that to someone who I respect as much as Jim Ross. Like he is the best of all time at the play-by-play, at the commentary. So I'm like, I don't want to disrespect him. I just think that I like hearing him. It adds credibility. The voice itself, I don't care what people think about it now. The voice of Jim Ross calling a match, even in 2023, it outweighs a lot of what you could do otherwise, in my opinion. Yeah, Charles says we miss Andrade on Collision too. Too bad we ain't getting Andrade with Roosh and House of Black at All In. They're doing something with Roosh. Roosh, go on AEW's Twitter page or X page, whatever it's called now. Go on their page on social media, and you'll see that they released this video of Faction and Gobernables doing like a trip to Mexico and Roosh like kidnapping Preston Vance, which I don't want to ruin it too much. It's really interesting. So they're planting the seeds for something. I just don't know what it is. Like Roosh hinted that there would be a change. We got Job in the chat saying, would you rather have one CM Punk or two Young Bucks, one Hangman Page, and one Kenny Omega? I mean, it's okay. Like it's not even close. Like you choose the elite. like if you're in a situation where both sides say, like if you're in a situation, you're Tony Khan, and you're in a situation where one or both sides say it's us or him, or it's them or me. You're picking the elite every time. Younger, way more star power combined than CM Punk. Like, remember, the entire reason this company exists is because of those four men. So, and Cody, obviously, but like they were integral in it. So, like, they will survive without CM Punk. Jermaine in the chat says, hot damn, Ricky Starks is the future. No, he is not the future. Ricky Starks is the present. I said it before. I'll say it again. He is one of the best young wrestlers in the entire world right now. He will be a future world champion. I think that feud he had with MJF was immaculate. The promos they cut against each other were great. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the one to beat Max. Would not be surprised. Who's going after Leatherface champion? All right, let's talk about this. The worst match in AEW history. A lot of people are saying this week that this past week on Dynamite, AEW had the worst match in their company's history with that Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match. Here's what I will say. Was it great? Was it #cinema? No. Was it a 5-star wrestling match? No. Was it intended to be a 5-star? No. What was it intended to be? Anything but schmoz. Let's waste time, do some funny, quirky, hardcore, wacky stuff, have Leatherface come out to a chainsaw and get some money, get apparently 6 figures they were paid for that match. If you expected anything else, if you expected good wrestling from that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you obviously, at that point, I think you're just a newer fan. Because if you expected that to be good, and you're like a long-term fan, or you've been a long-time fan, I'm just like, hey man, like I don't know what to tell you. Like it is what it is. I didn't think it was as bad as some people out there thought it was. Some people were like, this killed the business. I'm like, all right, come on, let's bring it down a little bit. With Finn Balor flopping around and throbbing on the floor with the red lights coming on in his match against Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules 2021 didn't kill the business. This won't. Trust me. We'll be fine. Libertarian Prince in the chat says, I would love to see primetime players as AEW tag champions. Primetime players. I mean, Fred Rosser could do it. Titus O'Neil is married to WWE. He is married to WWE. You want to see the Pope in AEW too? Big shout out to Pope D'Angelo Dinero. Formerly known as Elijah Burke. Jermaine in the chat says, if you had to choose between Starks, Ospreay, Jay White, and Walter, all of them? Like, who's the best? As a total package, Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's the best out of those guys. I think him and Walter are probably on the same level as far as in-ring ability. They're very different styles, obviously, but I mean, like Ospreay just has it really together. Walter is becoming a very good promo, but I think Ospreay is just big. Like he's just better overall, and it's not by that much, but he's better overall. And that's not me like pooping or poo-pooing on either Starks or Jay White. I just think Jay White still has, or Ricky Starks obviously just needs a little bit more exposure. And Jay White has everything to be able to be in that league. I just think he needs to be showcased on American television in that way, as a singles act. Um, so all of them are great though. All of them are great. Kervin says, "How Tony Khan going to build 1 week?" Hey, all right, come on now, come on now. Look, you're pointing out, Kervin, the issue here. You have 1 week between two massive shows, All In, which is like you're like as big as WrestleMania, and then All Out, which is literally your WrestleMania. So I don't know. I mean, they're gonna find a way to do it. I think at the pay-per-view at All Out, at All In, MJF's gonna retain his belt, and they're going to on Wednesday Night Dynamite. They're going to be like, who's going to challenge MJF? And then CM Punk's going to come out. And it's going to be a full circle moment, which is actually going to be good. Like, I think the main event is going to be MJF versus CM Punk. And it's going to be fine. It's going to be good because, remember, the last person before CM Punk nearly torpedoed his AEW career in that press conference, the last person he stared down in the ring with was who? Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. Like, they're just going to do some shiznit, and I don't know. Like, all the other matches are going to be like, oh my God, this night All Out, it's going to be, just announced by Tony Khan, it's going to be a triple threat tag team turmoil match. Like, this is going to be Excalibur running down the card on Wednesday. Jermaine in the chat saying, if you had to choose to be the head of your company, Starks, White, or who am I picking to build off of? Ospreay. I'm picking Will Ospreay. Your Charles says, I didn't expect anything on Leatherface match. Liked it as it was presented. Yeah, like I'm saying, like, here's the thing. If people expected cinema from that match, I don't know what to tell you. It was going to be a brawl and fight. That's what it was going to be. And it was fine. Jermaine says, who are the real four pillars in AEW at a young age? I mean, I think the four pillars are the four pillars. Like, it's MJF, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Like, I mean, if you mean like the four pillars, like 4 stars for the future, I think Sky Blue, Willow Nightingale. I would put them in there. I would put who else would I put in there? Like, as far as like younger talent, like AEW homegrown talent. I think Nick Wayne has a lot of potential. I think Nick Wayne has an immense amount of potential. And I'm trying to think here. Put me on the spot. I'm trying to think of like another young person in AEW. It'll come to me later. But those are 3. Walter gives me Jokic vibes. Oh, because he's the GOAT. I'm going to get berated for that take. Kervin says, why Tony Khan doesn't have Kenny Omega versus Punk? That's money. It is money, but from the sounds and the rumors of things, it doesn't seem like they want to work, or Kenny Omega and the Elite want to work with Punk right now. Your Charles said Tony Khan has to be traumatized by his roster injuries. I think that's why he never announces match cards early. Yeah. Oh, duh, that guy, Hook. He's a pillar. Yeah, he's going to be a pillar. Yeah, I don't even think it's that. I just think that's the style of booking. I just think that's the style of booking that he's gone for. He's gone for like the short builds to try to get people as excited as excited as possible right before the pay-per-views, and then and try to hope that they buy it right before, so it's like top of mind for them. But yeah, like that's been one of my bigger criticisms of AEW. The builds to a lot of their big shows are rushed. And that's not necessarily saying that the builds aren't good, but they don't have time to breathe, and it just seems rushed a lot of times. And for me, I'm like, you can't have everything on your show be rushed. Job says, sometimes real life writes the best storylines. Harwood will cause FTR to lose their belts. Are you referring to the the Cash Wheeler or the yeah, you're referring to the Wheeler thing, I think, right? The arrest. It wasn't Dax Harwood. It was Cash Wheeler who was arrested, and AEW knew about it. I believe, or sorry, someone had to have known about it. Like I don't believe that the AEW did not know about it until today or this week. I think they knew about it back when it happened. Probably that's why they booked this match. Otherwise, it's just crazy. And they're still booking the match. They're still hyping the match. So it seems like it's going to happen. He didn't get his passport taken away as part of the arraignment. So that's probably why it's still happening. Jermaine says it's TK pay-per-views, so you know what it is. You know what it is. What return, what debut, what title change will happen. Yeah. But I will say they know how to do pay-per-view. AEW knows how to put on a good pay-per-view. The best feuds in real life. Yeah. Yeah, it was Wheeler. I don't know. Like again, I'm not gonna speak too much on that situation. I made a video about it, sharing my thoughts and sharing what like I feel like is important from a wrestling standpoint. I don't want to talk too much about the Cash Wheeler situation outside of the facts that we know. Just because I don't want to be putting like stuff out there that isn't true, or even like, especially when it comes to something as serious as an arrest. We do know who's arrested. And the warrant was issued a day after the alleged incident back at the end of July. So this has been a process for a few weeks. The arraignment just happened this week. And yeah, those are the facts right now. It's definitely a shocking situation. I will say, definitely a shocking situation. Will there be other championship matches on All In cards in your opinion? No. I mean, like right now we have 3 championship matches? 4 if you count the ROH title match. You have the tag team match, the ROH tag team match, the women's world championship, and the men's world championship. Oh, sorry. And then you have CM Punk's real world championship. So, I mean, they get 4, I guess. But let's see. I mean, there's going to be a few at All Out. Right now, at All Out, you have the TNT title on the line. The AEW world title is going to be on the line. The men's, the women's as well is likely going to be on the line. We just don't know what the match is going to be. I would imagine that the Young Bucks are going to put the tag titles on the line, but that they could also just skip that too. I don't know. It's crash course booking, but I can't deny that it's successful. Like, it's crazy, man. The revenue for this event, $9 million, 80,700 tickets sold. You can't argue with the results. Whatever we want to say about AEW, whatever we want to critique about the way that they've booked pay-per-views, the results speak for themselves. They're still one of the highest rated shows every week on TV for their time slot, and they're just selling an insane amount of tickets for this show in Wembley. Like that, the one thing we haven't talked about enough, I don't think, is just like, man, that's going to be such a special look. It's going to look spectacular. Like, I really hope AEW goes all out with the presentation of that pay-per-view. It's going to look crazy. Right now, the official number for Wembley is tickets distributed. This is according to WrestleTix, by the way. Go follow them on Twitter and Patreon. They're a great source. WrestleTix, tickets distributed 80,846. Current capacity and the current setup is 85,472. Every Triple H return has been disappointing. No, hey, look. Damage Control has been great. They've done a great job with Io Shirai, although I guess that was more of a call-up, and the return of Dakota Kai. But, yeah, hasn't been great otherwise, has it? Brawny the Strowman was doing some stuff, though, a few weeks ago with Logan Paul. That was cool. Brawny the Strowman. Brawny the Strowman. Well, he was a man who liked his... I'm going to stop before I say something wild. Guys, hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Let's turn to WWE news, guys. Again, If you guys want to support the channel and make sure your question or statement gets answered, be sure to leave a super chat. Let's talk about this ESPN story. So I'm going to read an aggregation from Post Wrestling. That is postwrestling.com. Great work by them. This is an article by Andrew Thompson of Post Wrestling, talking about ESPN and the potential of them acquiring WWE TV. We know that WWE is still in negotiations for a new TV deal. We thought that this might be part of the deal to buy the company back when they were negotiating the sale. However, that did not happen. We're currently waiting. We were expected to hear about a sale sometime in the summer. Summer's nearing its end right now, so obviously that timing has been thrown off by a little bit. And part of the reason could be that, the market for WWE isn't as high as they thought it was. Like with a impending recession happening soon, or apparently happening soon, and with everything that's going on in the business side of things, companies want to hold on to their money. Like, companies are cutting costs. They're not spending a lot of money on this stuff. So maybe this is like an issue with WWE, just can't get the deal that they wanted. Maybe they can't get the increase that they expected to get. But here was ESPN head. This is Burke Magnus. He sounds like a wrestler. That is a wrestling name. That's from where is he from? From Liverpool, England. Burke Magnus. Burke Magnus, ESPN's president of content, spoke in depth about sports entertainment companies during his appearance on Sports Media with Richard Deutsch. He was asked how ESPN feels about the relationship with WWE. Burke says their viewpoint towards being content distributors for WWE events changed a few years ago, so it's not breaking news. But specifically on that front, they passed that a long time ago. He added that if WWE's rights are available, then it's a possibility. There's no hesitation from ESPN about live event versus scripted on-brand perspective. WWE runs 52 weeks, a 52-week-a-year business, and Burke said that's impossible for ESPN from a linear perspective. On the digital front, he thinks it's more achievable. So this could be a situation where you get, like, not them on ESPN, but potentially them on, or one of their shows on, one of their platforms, whether it's YouTube or ESPN Plus. You could 100% see Raw or SmackDown go there. So it's like, so that's the thing, like, right? Because WWE, I think the shows in their current state, I don't think they'd be able to do like it on ESPN, or at least Raw definitely would not be able to do on ESPN, because it's just, you can't do it on Mondays during football season. Like, the NFL trumps WWE in that perspective. However, if you're ESPN and you're looking to gravitate people towards ESPN Plus, one way of doing that is by acquiring the rights for Monday Night Raw. Another way of doing that is acquiring the rights of Friday Night SmackDown. Drive those wrestling fans, like however many it is, whether it's like 1 million or whatever, drive them to ESPN Plus. The exclusive place to watch Monday Night Raw is ESPN Plus. The exclusive place to watch Friday Night SmackDown is ESPN Plus. The people who want to watch live will watch live, and it'll pay for itself. Especially when you're ESPN, you're looking to get content on the app. I think that's the perfect route to go down. Charles says, are the 90,000 ticket sales in one day for WWE real? Yeah. Those are confirmed numbers to my knowledge. I think Meltzer and someone else confirmed them. Forgetting the name, sorry. But yeah, and remember this. It is a 2-day event. Okay, so like 90,000 tickets, it's a 2-day event, meaning it's likely that the same people who bought tickets for night one also bought a lot of tickets for night two. So like, remember that, like, obviously, like, and I'm not saying that's not an achievement. It's an insane achievement to get to sell 90,000 tickets. All right, I don't care whether the show is happening 3 days in a row, 2 days in a row. I don't care. That is a insane achievement. However, Like it's not them selling 90,000 tickets for one night. It is across 2 nights. So whatever the real number, whatever the number is per night, whether it's 45, whatever, it's still insane. And they're going to sell like they're going to have at least 60,000 people in there. I would think each night. So and they're going to say like, 120,000 people attended WrestleMania this year, more than ever, and it's true. It's true. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, it is, yes, those ticket sale numbers are true. Guys, we are heading down the home stretch of this show. If you haven't already done so, do me a big time favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Lot happening this week in wrestling, guys. If you're gonna be in Chicago for All In or All Out, like I said, be sure to let me know. I will be there. I haven't bought my tickets yet. AEW, because I couldn't get. Anyway, I'm not gonna do that on air. We're gonna be professional. This is a professional setting. But yeah, I'm looking at tickets right now. I might have to look somewhere else because Ticketmaster, there's like no seats available here. Anyway, that is on me. What else you guys want to talk about today? Let me know. Let me see what else is going on in the wrestling news. Let's see. I'm just going to look up wrestling news. Let's see. Usually Sean Ross Sapp's Twitter feed has some good wrestling news on it. He is, of course, the absolute, he's the guy when it comes to wrestling news. Yeah, not a lot of stuff here. Anyway, okay. That is what it is. Herwin says, how long do you think AEW All In is going to be? I think it's going to be like a 4 or 5 hour show. It helps a little bit that on the East Coast, that show's going to be kicking off at noon. For the people on the West Coast, it's going to be kicking off at like 9 a.m., which is nuts. But yeah. Job says, if ESPN buys WWE, will Stephen A. Smith be... I would hate that. I would watch that shit on mute. I don't need an ESPN cast of Stephen A. Smith going, okay. So yeah, look at this brother. Look, that is my brother. I know Roman Reigns. He and I have held hands at the beach many times. That is my brother. But Roman can't be having Jimmy and Jay. Like, nah, I can't. No, we don't need that. I don't want that. Let Stephen A. do his thing. On First Take with Shannon Sharp, apparently. That's happening. Which I got to do a follow-up video on my sports channel, youtube.com/Real Take Sports for all your sports needs this coming NFL season. Oh my God. So much happening, guys. So much happening. Trevor saying, I can't stand Steven. Sir, what do you mean? The blasphemy. The unmitigated gall of you, Mr. Sutton. Now, I love you like a brother. But you can't tell me that me on commentary wouldn't be the absolute best thing to happen to ESPN. Come on now. God bless Stephen A. Smith. Kervin says, AEW Fight Forever video game already died. I stopped playing it. Yeah. I mean, I know Stadium Stampede mode is coming out, so I'll check that out for sure. But yeah, I definitely stopped playing it. I mean, like, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. But I'm just like, I don't need all of it. Don't need all of it. Guys, I think we're just about done here. Appreciate all of you guys coming through. This has been a lot of fun. Hopefully we can stick to a schedule for Sundays. Although the NFL season might be doing Sunday mornings. I don't know. But I appreciate all of you guys. If you haven't already done so, do me a big time favor. Go to youtube.com/Real Takes Wrestling and subscribe. Follow us on X at Real Take W. That is, again, follow us on X/Twitter, whatever you call it, at Real Take W. You can follow me as well at Real Omer Q. Ugh, today's been a day. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a 5-star review. Until next time, Joe, Kervin, Trevor, Charles, every single, but Jermaine, everyone. Be happy, be healthy, enjoy your Sunday night, and as always, keep it real.